Hello, everybody, and welcome to the SD Times live microwebinar series with Melisa. Today, we'll be talking about achieving the golden record for a 360-degree customer view. In this 10-minute microwebinar, you'll learn why it's important to make data matching part of your data quality regimen. This is the fourth episode in this series, so just for a quick recap of the series, in episode 1, we talked about document verification. In episode 2, we talked about electronic identity verification. And in episode 3, we talked about national watch list screening. Those videos are all on our website, so you can go back and watch those if you missed out. Now, with me today is Tim Sidor, Data Quality Analyst at Melisa. And now I'll kick things over to him.
Thank you, Jenna. Let's start by reiterating or describing a common database problem probably every institution that stores business or individual data has or falls victim to, and that's duplicate records in the database. These can be exact duplicates of an entity or duplicate entries where there are slight variations in the way that individual contacts or businesses are stored, or they can be duplicates from merged systems and across databases. If these records were exactly the same, it would be easy to resolve them or resolve the problem. But that's mostly not the case. There's going to be variations, which could be differently formatted names, abbreviations in company names, or unstandardized addresses, for example. And even if that contact information was standardized, the transactional data associated with these records might be varied, across those records and across the database, either in unstandardized formats due to being from different services or different databases, or responses injected into the system from different data campaigns or promotions, or the data just may no longer be relevant, old, or stale. So therefore, incorrect linking your contacts or misrepresenting the contact's transaction history or their contact data history results in an inaccurate view of the customer. Multiple records in your database, most likely multiple or different representations of that contact or company. Well, if so, which one is more accurate? Which one of those records is outdated or just flat out wrong? So it's important to remove the problem by either just identifying and removing duplicates in one fell swoop, or perhaps more importantly, to prioritize the records and at the same time consolidate what you want to remain as part of that person's picture. So the solution is to first accurately identify database records which actually represent that same entity. That's choosing the criteria or rule sets of how to identify which of these records should be found to be the same. And that's one of the most important aspects of golden record selection. It's a really advanced topic in itself, and therefore is going to be the subject of our next micro webinar or micro chat. But the important thing is you need a way to identify which records accurately match which other records. Having done that, the second is decide which of these grouped records moving forward should be kept as the master record. And this is record prioritization, or as some call it, the golden record selection. Is it the most, when we have a group of records that we found to be the same, is it the most recently added record to the database? Maybe not. Maybe the most recently record added is the least important. Is it the record with non-blank data? So that's another important decision that's going to have to be made. And third, having given those first 2 points, how do we build that master record, that golden record? Should we assume that the master record is the best as it is, or should we determine a method to update it with the most update or the most relevant data? And that's kind of what we're getting at here. That's what we desire. Can we keep a master record, which maybe has a phone number but update it with a missing email that's from another matching record from another data set or another database. And we call that survivorship. That's deciding which data is retained, or simply record consolidation. So considering the importance of the golden record, the end goal here is to get the best values in every domain or data type and have the most accurate or most recent record. Maybe retain all the data or discard outdated or unwanted data. And, to summarize, to create or creating a single accurate master database record. Thank you.
So is this something that Melisa has a solution for? And if so, can you talk a little bit about that and how it works?
Yeah, we do. We have a solution called Matchup. That's our data matching and record consolidating solution, and that's consumed as a library or an enterprise solution. And that just does exactly that. At its basic level, it groups records, determines duplicates, but it also has the ability to create that golden record and survivorship, so we can get that nice single snapshot master record.
How is this golden record determined?
The golden record, we have a different out of the box methods for you to determine that. By default, our library will just decide first in, as you process records, that'll lead the group. That'll be the master record. But in our enterprise solutions, we've built this interface, which is wrapped over the library, and it gives you a bunch of different methods where you can evaluate your groups, and that can be based on the best record. If you use some of our other products like address verification, phone verification, we can evaluate those results and say, this is the best address out of the group. You can select that as your master record, or this one has the best phone number. You can use that one to decide which one is your golden record. And also there's another different methods like a timestamp, maybe the latest or most recent date. And there's also a custom expression builder, which you can take anything in your data to say, hey, I need to evaluate this. I have a group of matched records. Here's a piece of data, maybe a salary or a campaign contribution or something like that. We want that value, that highest value, to be the golden record, or the criteria which determines the master record.
Mm-hmm. You talked a little bit earlier about kind of grouping records together. So can you talk a little bit more about how that is done?
Yeah, that's the matching aspect of it. And with any of our distributions, we provide a tool and a library that allows the user to create their own business rules that they'll apply to the process. In other words, you decide what you want to match your database on. How am I going to select my golden record? It can be based on just a person's name, a contact's name, or maybe a name and address, or maybe my rule is group all the records based on a name and address or a company address. So there's a lot of flexibility there. And I think we already kind of touched on this. It's the most important and complex aspect of golden record selection, and that merits its own discussion, which is going to be in that next micro webinar.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for clarifying those couple questions there, and for the presentation in general. That is all the time we have for today. So as Tim mentioned, the next video will kind of be a continuation of this episode. So be sure to tune into that one. And remember, you can watch replays of all the videos on sdtimes.com. And if you want to learn more about Melisa and the solution Tim just talked about, you can head to melisa.com. Thanks for tuning in.